All right, so we're going to get started on the header, but before we do that, I'm going to add some classes on the body because we are going to be using dark and light mode. So I want to say if dark, so dark colon, then we're going to use the class of BG dark blue, which is one of our custom colors. Also, if in dark mode, then we're going to use text dash white. And then also, I'm just going to add the font dash open sans stack on the body. All right, now if I save that, notice that the background is white, and that's because we're not in dark mode. We're not going by the operating system anymore. We're going by the HTML class. So if I add a class here of dark and I save, then we're going to be put into dark mode. And we have that black background just because we still have this H1, but we're going to get rid of that. Okay, so it's in dark mode right now, and I'm just going to leave it in dark mode at the moment. So the next thing we want, like I said, is the header. So let's just say header, and I'm going to use the HTML5 header tag, and we're going to make that a container, push it to the middle with margin auto, and then let's put margin 10 or margin top 10, and we're going to do padding. We'll do px6 on the x-axis, and then text dash center, and let's also do height. So for height, I'm going to do 40 on small screens, but then we're going to do a medium height of 20. And the reason for that is if we look at this, you could see on small screens we have these stacked. On medium screens, they're not. They're side by side. So we're adding a little bit of height here just to push this down a little. All right, so let's come back over here. Now inside the header, we're going to have our logo, and this is going to be, I guess it's a dynamic logo because it's going to be different depending on if we're in dark mode or not. And this is where we get to use those classes that we created here. All right, so we have the class of BG-logo dark mode and BG-logo light mode. So we're going to use those. So let's have a div with BG-logo dash, and then we're going to say light mode. But then we're going to add dark colon and then BG-logo dark mode. All right, we're also going to add onto this a BG no repeat because we don't want it to repeat. And then let's do for the height, we'll do 20, and then width, we'll do 48. And we'll say MX auto, and on medium screens, MX 0. And also on medium screens, I'm going to position it absolute. So let's say absolute, and then top 10 and left 10. Okay, so we don't put anything in here. I'm just going to save it. Now we should see our logo in the middle on small screens, and on larger screens, it's positioned absolute over in the corner. Now, if I were to get rid of the dark class here and save, it's going to show the light mode logo, okay, because of what we added in the config, and we added the dark variant. So next thing we want to do underneath that is the menu. So let's go right here. We'll say this is going to be the menu, and we're going to use flex and items center. We're going to justify dash center, and space between the items we'll do 4 on small screens. Text, actually we shouldn't need to do like dark text white because that's on the body. So let's do on medium screens, space between the items will be more, it'll be 10. All right, and the toggle switch is in the menu too. It's 2 links and then the toggle switch. And on medium screens, I'm going to position it absolute, just like I did the logo. It's just going to be on the other side. So we'll do top 12, and then from the right, 10. Okay, so that's going to be our menu. Now the first link here, these links are just going to have a hover class of text dash accent cyan. Yeah, like that. And then this is going to go to ID features, because that will go down to a certain part, and then features, and we'll copy that down. This one's going to be testimonials. Okay, and then this is going to be the ID of testimonials. So if I save that, we should see this. Okay, and even if we have, if we're not in dark mode, same thing. If you want to change the color, the hover color, you could just simply put dark hover and then a different color if you want. But I'm going to put this back in dark mode. Now, as far as the button, the toggle button, this is actually from that free Code Camp article, along with the JavaScript that we're going to write. So the SVG that's going to be in the button, well, there's two SVGs. There's a moon, so that we can switch to dark mode, and a sun to switch to light mode. But they're both going to be hidden to begin with. And then when we add our JavaScript, we're going to show the right one depending on what mode we're in. But for now, let's go right under this A tag, under testimonials. And this is going to be our, we'll say, dark light mode button. Okay, and it's going to be a button. And it's going to have an ID because we need to grab it within JavaScript. So we'll call it theme toggle. And then a couple classes here, quite a few classes actually. We're going to do text gray -500, that's the default. And then on dark mode, it'll be text gray -400, which is a little lighter. And then on hover, so hover, it's going to be a background of gray 100. And on dark hover, so I'm going to say dark :hover : and then that's going to be BG-gray -700. Okay, and then also on focus, we want to remove the outline, so we'll say outline -none. And also on focus, we're going to have a ring, so let's say ring -4. And then also on focus, we want the color of the ring, which is going to be ring -gray -700. And then let's do dark focus. So dark focus is going to be ring -gray actually, wait a minute, focus. This is going to be 700. And then this one, focus ring gray, is actually 200. All right, and then we just want to add our rounded -large, and the text is going to be small, and then padding is going to be 2.5. All right, so that's going to be our button. Now the SVGs, like I said, we're going to put them directly in here, and there's two of them. Let me just grab those real quick. And you can copy these from the repository or even from the article. I'll have the link somewhere in the course. Okay, now we can't see it because because there's two and they both have the class of hidden. Let me just put a comment here. This is going to be this is the dark SVG. Let's say dark SVG icon. And then this one here, directly under it, this is the light SVG icon. And if I were to remove the class of hidden on one of these, save that, you can see now we get this moon. If I put that back and I remove the class on this one, then we should see the sun. So basically in our JavaScript, we're going to want to load whichever one we're supposed to. If we're in dark, we should see the sun because that represents light mode. If we're in light, we should see the moon to represent dark mode. All right, but now we have at least we have the markup done. So I think what we'll do in the next video is make that button function. We're going to add the ability to show the button for one, or to show the SVG, and then we're going to toggle it and save the mode we're in local storage so that we can leave the website or we can close the browser and we can come back and it's going to still be in the mode we prefer. All right, so we'll get to that next.